On today's episode of the Drift Car Build-Off presented by SPEC Clutch and Koyorad,
today we stuff this good engine into our good 350Z. Before we do that, we've got to bolt up the clutch. Before we bolt up the clutch, we actually have a little bit of housekeeping to do here. This is our blown motor. This is our Sickie motor. There's also a weird difference that Pete was noticing where this, first of all, got rid of the AC, so we're going to get rid of the AC here. But when you look at what's left of the pulley system on this motor, there's this big pulley here that doesn't exist on this motor, which is really strange because these are both 06 RevUp VQ35s. Maybe they were having belt failures?
I'm sure the internet will tell us.
Yeah,
Post in the comments.
We're on the internet, so you guys should comment about what's going on here. And we just like to know, we're just curious. And we're also swapping over these Samco hoses from the old motor because why not? It's a better quality hose, it's more resistant to heat, and just generally more durable.
And it looks good.
It does look good. It does look good. It gives it that race car thing. So we've got a few of these to swap over, just starting with this guy that runs across the front of the motor here. So we're just doing a straight swap to factory NGKs, Iridiums.
Yep.
And I gotta say, not the easiest motor in the world to work on as far as doing the spark plug changes. It's got harnesses and brackets everywhere, so you have to like peel all this mess away to get down in there. But just putting on my high quality vision here, Peter, inspecting our original clutch and flywheel off of that motor that we grabbed from Sickie, and we can see that it's got the original clutch disc in it and very lightly worn. I think it's probably not seen any aggressive driving, which 350Z owner, I'm disappointed in you for not beating up this clutch. Anyway, you don't want to be drifting on a stock clutch anyway, because it's not really designed to take the heat or clutch kick abuse or any of that good stuff, so we need to upgrade ours. Just looking at the stock dual mass flywheel, look at the size of this thing.
What's a dual mass flywheel, DP?
Well, as the name implies, there's two masses that are connected by springs in the middle that act as a kind of a damper. So they're trying to take all the NVH out of the driveline by like literally dampening it. And you can see here as I press on the sides of this mating surface that it's sort of sitting on a series of springs that allows this to soak up vibration. So it's trying to smooth everything out, but it's not great for like feel of clutch engagement. I find it gives it a very like spongy feel. So happy to ditch that in favor of SPEC's aluminum flywheel, which is half the weight of that stock steel one. So for one, we're saving a whole bunch of rotational mass, which helps free up horsepower and gives you a much sort of snappier feel to the throttle. Oh, I should also mention it's got a replaceable friction material face on it, so you can actually just buy the replacement and reuse the rest of the flywheel should you end up changing discs and have sort of like burnt that surface up. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, I like that. And so instead of resurfacing it, you can just order that disc up and be ready to go if you're swapping another clutch out.
Yeah, pretty cool. And in terms of friction material for the clutch, we've gone with SPEC's Stage 3 6-puck. You can see it's a sprung hub. And the reason we went with Stage 3, initially we were talking with Dave at SPEC about going with their 2+ kit, which is what we run on most of our other cars because we find it to be very streetable, yet takes the punishment at the racetrack really well. But Dave was saying that for drifting, where you put a lot of heat into the friction material from clutch kicks and stuff, that the material in their 2+, which I believe he said was ceramic, some of the ceramic material in that doesn't really like that kind of abuse, where this carbon semi-metallic material takes that kind of heat and abuse much better. So it's not really about torque capacity so much as it is the material being better suited to drifting. So that's why we've gone Stage 3, really on Dave at SPEC's recommendation. So we'll see how we like it. He also says it's very streetable, so we'll find out how the engagement is from launching it from a stop and so on. But primarily, we just want to know that we have a reliable setup to go and pound on this thing at the racetrack, and we believe this is going to deliver that for us. I should also mention it comes as a complete kit, obviously with their pressure plate. Comes with a new release bearing that we've already pressed on here. Comes with new pressure plate bolts. Even comes with a new pilot bearing. So I think it's time that we get to work installing this PT.
SPEC flywheel is on, and I gotta say, this is the first time I've ever seen Torx bits, Torx style bolts for flywheel bolts, which is an interesting use for Nissan. But what I've done here is we've used a little bit of medium strength Loctite on the bolts. The internet says you may want to use the red stuff, which I think is the maximum strength, which is permanent. There's also this whole thing about torquing them to 70 foot-pounds and backing them off and then torquing them again to 90. But then there's some people that just say, go to 90 or go to 75. So we've decided that because the internet has so many differing opinions, we're gonna go to 75 because...
well, the factory service manual does say 70 to 75, I believe. So.
Well, there you go. So that's what we're going to. Oh my goodness. She's tight. There we go. I hate this part, DP.
I know. Stressful.
It always feels like they're gonna shear right off, but
yeah,
they're good high-grade bolts. SPEC actually has a mark here because they've spun this up and weighted it.
Oh, that's
so
what
if you
that
look,
weight is.
if you go around,
Yeah.
there's a white mark right there, and then there's a white mark on the actual flywheel.
Oh yes, look at that.
And you line it up.
Show the people the white mark.
That's right.
And the white mark.
So everything is balanced
What?
for high RPM goodness.
What witchcraft is this? Now that I've got the pressure plate bolts in place, I'm just going to torque them to spec. Once again, the internet is confusing us on torque specs, but found enough threads that suggested around 20 foot-pounds is factory spec that we're going with that.
We've done a lot of talking in this episode, but this motor
Needs to go
hasn't
in.
actually gone in. So
know.
I think it's time we bolt this transmission on and get this thing back in the engine bay.
Okay,
What do you
let's-
say? Time-lapse time.
Let's do it. Well, turns out the clutch was aligned perfectly, and it was all Peter's fault. He just didn't jiggle it in there hard enough. So it's fine. There's nothing to
Learn
see
from
here.
from our mistakes,
It was-
people.
there was
Don't
no
do what
problems.
Dave did and misalign the
Apparently,
tool.
the Moose and the Pete decided that I needed to like put a little bit of upward pressure on the.
That's right. The clutch alignment tool does sag
sags
just
a little.
enough.
I needed to preload it a little because it seems like now that Pete preloaded it, it went in with relative ease. It still wasn't exactly a piece of cake because this transmission's a big beast. It's time to throw the VQ in the engine bay, and I should quickly mention that we decided to stick with the OE headers. Basically just thinking we like the idea of having, or I like the idea of having more mid-range torque, more mid-range power available as I learn to drift the car, and I don't mind giving up that little bit of power at the top end that the Stillen headers would have provided. So that's the decision I've made. You can let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree. Engine is hung, and that means it's time to move on to installing a exhaust system. We've opted for a very mature option, the Borla S-Type true dual exhaust, which you can see here. We've laid out on the ground just to see how to fit it all together. It uses a slip fit style, which should make it very easy to fit up, and also makes it very adjustable, so it should be quite easy to adjust it on the car and get it all lined up nicely. It uses a very high quality stainless T304 material that has a lot of chromium and nickel in it, which makes it highly rust resistant. In fact, so rust resistant that Borla offers a 1,000,000-mile warranty on all their exhaust systems. 1,000,000 miles. Out back you can see they use their S-type muffler, which has a perforated core and very high quality composite material packed around it for sound abatement. Also uses very nice chromed or polished rolled tips, 4-inch tips. This whole thing is so nice, Peter. I'm even gonna throw on my Borla dad hat. Get off my lawn, you damn kids! I've already got the front pipes bolted up here, and as you can see, they're nicely mandrel bent. And this is the H pipe, which is why this is a true dual exhaust. So the factory exhaust system goes from 2 into 1 pipe here. but the Borla system keeps it as a true dual, so that means you're going to get better flow. In fact, Borla claims you can pick up 15 to 20 wheel horsepower with this exhaust system, which sounds optimistic to me, but maybe we'll find out on the dyno soon. Okay, we are torquing down the last few clamps here to Borla's specified 32 to 35 foot-pounds. They're very specific in their detailed instructions not to hit these with an impact tool. They need to be tightened down to 32 to 35 foot-pounds, which we're doing with our fancy new digital torque wrench here. Let's see if we can get into the red zone here. There we go. That's 33 foot-pounds. That's it. This thing fit up beautifully. No hiccups, no drama. Everything is plugged in here. Got the intake on, all the wiring's plugged in, threw a battery in, looped off the power steering fluid so it doesn't piss on the floor, which means it's time to put some fluid in this. And by the way, we did fill the transmission with Valvoline's full synthetic 75W90. We've used this in a bunch of other cars with very good results, so I'm sure it'll work well in this application. For the engine oil, we don't actually know the exact mileage on this motor, but we're going to assume it's over 75,000 miles, which makes Valvoline's high mileage full synthetic a good option for it. Basically, the high mileage has an additives package in it which not only helps with sealing so that you get less oil leaks, it's also got some additives in there that help reduce wear at cold start and just wear in general. So it's meant to keep your high mileage engine alive longer. And we're definitely going to put this thing to the test. Oh, look at that pour, Peter.
Wow.
The easy pour bottle. I could have done this without a...
No glugs. Get in there, DP.
That's right.
Time has come.
The fastest we've ever started a car after doing an engine swap. It wasn't an engine swap, it's just the same engine. Getting in here.
We're just used to doing hard engine swaps these days, and this was kind of easy.
Pretty straight up.
So,
oh, it feels good in here,
oh
PT.
Yeah, look at you.
Ready to rip some drifts.
Ready to rip for sure.
All right, let's fire this thing up.
Okay,
You ready?
fingers crossed, man, do it.
Woo. I got lights on the dash, that's a good sign.
Yes, yes.
Belt slip.
Oh, we got belt slippage. Shut her down. Let's fix that belt slippage here.
Yeah, but it fired right up.
Yes,
And it
yes,
sounded,
man.
It sounded good too.
It did. And there, I've solved our squeaky belt issue. I've actually taken it off, which I should have done originally, so we wouldn't have this huge mess of power steering puking out everywhere. All right, DP, let's hear this engine run again. Fire it up. Oh, there we go. Nice. All right. Well, I think that is a success, DP.
That is a success. And I think if I can get out of it, we'll call it a wrap, because you should always wrap a video with an engine firing after you've swapped it in there. So that's a win for us today. We're gonna take it and run. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed the progress we made on our 350Z drift car today. We'll be making lots more progress on it in the coming weeks, and then we're gonna move on to that other one soon. But first we need to tie some important loose ends up here, like cooling and suspension and wheels and tires. So yeah, lots more good stuff still to come. Be sure to check out speedacademy.shop for swag and hard parts. And if you feel like supporting this drift experiment of ours, then jump over to patreon.com and check us out there too.